Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. In the last part we got our 7th mirror shard and did more exploration, especially focusing here on Moonlit Mansion. I've been calling it Midnight Mansion almost the entire LP. I don't know why I keep getting that wrong. Same alongside with some numbers for the worlds being wrong, but that's just because there's no reason for them to be numbered. And now we're going to do more of the usual, really. Although, if I recall, we do at least get the 8th shard, so, hey, progress. This is one of the other rooms that really sticks out on my mind whenever I think about this game. We've technically been in it before. You may have noticed earlier, you may have seen a little bit of a, what's the word, lever a moment ago that looked a little familiar due to a shortcut we took earlier that we couldn't get all the way through. This is where that links up. There's a shortcut from here all the way to... forget what world. I want to say it might be Olive Ocean, but I'm probably wrong because I don't remember. But I'm about to find out. And I should note, you do need to activate at least one side of that to get 100%. I think you might need to activate both sides, honestly. But you definitely need to at least travel through to get 100% map, because the room that leads to either shortcut like that, because there's two of those sorts of shortcuts in the game, count for map completion. Also, little auto mix for, well, not quite auto mix for a wheel, but close enough to it. This is the cook power-up. I think this is only gettable through roulettes. It's Kirby's final smash from Brawl. You suck things in, you get items for food out of it. It's useful in a pinch, but you're never gonna have it in a pinch. If anything, it's more so just a cute little, well, that's nice kind of thing. Thankfully, that attempted wheel mix I did there, I don't need that ever. It just makes moving a little bit faster, and even though this isn't a speed run, although it is using a speedrun route, I don't need to. I'm forgetting where we're sitting at about right now in terms of completion. I want to say we're at about the 90% mark. Although I should note, when it comes to getting 100% in this game, you technically don't know if you got 100% until you beat the final boss, or at least get to a certain point in all of that. As the little pop-up that says, "Congratulations," only happens when you hit 100, and part of the ending counts for that 100. So you gotta be a little bit careful with that. At the end of the day, though, Moonlit Mansion, I find its approach to non-linearity interesting, as you get the linear section partnered with non-linear sections, which even though Rainbow Route technically has that as well, it's not as built into its level structure because of how big Rainbow Route is. This area you can really just kind of go all over the place. I shouldn't have died to that Batifier, but this room's also a goal game, so I'm going to elect to leave before things become more of a problem. At this point, though, it's time for us to finally start heading towards the only area that we haven't been to yet, Radish Ruins. We're already there. It's a very quick and easy place to get to if you have all the doors unlocked. Radish Ruins is inside of a temple. It's a very claustrophobic area, just like Carrick Castle. But this is probably my second favorite area in the game because I like the structure for this area in particular. It loops back on itself in a couple places, yes, but it does so in, I feel, a more satisfying way than a lot of the other level design in the game. Also, I won't lie, it took me a while as a kid to realize I could just double tap down to fall through those platforms. I thought they were the ones you could jump up through, but not back down through. I was very wrong. Thankfully. Because if I hadn't been right, or if I had been right, I might not have beaten this game as a kid. I think there was a good couple of hours in my first playthrough where I did just devolve into the screw it, I'll try anything to see if I can find anything kind of mentality. But that was so long ago, I can't remember the exacts anymore. That's just kind of how things crumble, isn't it? And that's every switch activated. And that causes a new door to materialize over in the main hub room. We'll be taking a look at that. I forget if we do that next part or this part, but we will be taking a look at what's in there before the end of the game. It's an interesting area. there's just better areas to go to, I feel. Especially if you do post-game for this game, because this game technically has post-game, in that once you beat the final boss, the game saves. There's a certain new option on the main hub, and then you can just go about looking for whatever rooms or items you haven't been to yet. There's no actual, like, Final Fantasy-style post-game here, but it is notable all the same. Also, if I recall correctly, the main reason we're not going through that shortcut right now to get the map completion is that I'll need to use that shortcut eventually anyway, so I'll just wait until then. Plain and simple. Also, looking at this, I was correct earlier. Radish Ruins does not use that same tile set as that one portion of Mustard Mountain, which really makes that temple section feel like it's not extraneous, but needed more fleshing out. Mind you, I feel like that kind of summarizes the game. It really makes me wonder if at one point in development for the game, they had intended this to be perhaps just a larger Kirby game in terms of scale, with all these tile sets they made, but then they kind of had to scale back the level design and all that to make it not more fitting, but I guess more approachable for the usual Kirby audience, maybe. I'm not sure if there's many details about the game's development out there, but this is a game's development story I would like to see told, like, from beginning to end. Not as like a documentary, but I guess maybe just, I guess it wouldn't be Sakurai telling the tale, because he was mostly, like, cursory involvement in this game from what I know. Maybe like a book, like the development of Kirby in general. I feel like Kirby could actually have a really good book on the development of, sort of like how we got that book about Iwata. About, what was that, year ago now? Year and a half? Also, you're technically meant to do something that was not what I just did to get that, but screw it, I'll take the hit. It's not that much damage. And at this point, I'm maxed out at health from my memory, so why not? I know it's just because it's meant to look like the Grand Canyon, but I look at this and I can't help but be reminded of that one stage of Comic Zone. Now I think about it though, I think that rock in the background behind me is just directly meant to be based off that one arc that looks really cool from one particular camera angle that I think was like one of the Windows backgrounds for a while there. Anyway, this is another goal game wrap, but still need to go on it. Again, I feel like this game would be more enjoyable in a lot of ways if I didn't have to go for all the rooms too. Castlevania and things of that ilk might be the only types of these games where I feel completely okay with the map being required for completion stuff, just because of how they track item completion in those. And even then, I'd still rather do it the Metroid way. Speaking of which, E3 is going on right now. So if any time over the next couple of videos you hear me freak out about Metroid, you'll know why. Today it wasn't anything too special. We just had the Ubisoft and Devolver and Gearbox stuff. Some of the stuff from Devolver looked cool. Mario and Rabbids getting a sequel's nice. I don't know why they're bringing back Rocksmith. Either way, this is that new door that opened here in the main hub. It is a powers room. Every power-up in the game, I believe, is here, including Smash. So if you ever have a favorite you want to use, just come in here and get it. There's only one power that's technically not in here, and that's because you don't get that until the post-game. But still, any opportunity to take Smash, I'll take Smash. Smash is really good. Back to Carrick Castle, because at this point, while we still have to go and fight the boss fight of Radish Ruins, yes, I might as well use the shortcut to get there. I think I was technically meant to hit that lever a lot earlier in the game. I just forgot to do it. Coincidentally, just made for a really good shortcut showing there. Radish Ruins, though, I recall there being well, it loops on itself a couple times and has a lot of one-ways. It's also not relatively large compared to some of the other areas, so it's one of the areas I can feel you can get through relatively quickly. There's no really dickishly hidden secrets like bottomless pits that are secretly also doorways to chests and all that. There's no really super hard timing puzzles outside of maybe one, and even then, it's pretty straightforward. It's not a very bad area, although it might have the hardest of the main 8 bosses just due to the fact that it's the only one that can outwardly guard. But we'll get to that in a few minutes now, won't we? Until then, let's just murder Master Hand again, because let's be real, we all love doing this, and we've all done it more times in our life than we'd like to admit, because we've all played Smash with those classic modes too much. God knows I played at 64 a lot growing up. It's the unfortunate thing with my Smash experience. I think I've brought this up on content before. But my first Smash game was 64 because it was on my brother's N64. Played it a lot, loved it, was bad at it. We got Melee, it was my game at that point. And then about around maybe a year in, not even, my copy of Melee stopped working, like the disc can no longer be read for some reason. And I never unlocked every character in it because of that back when and all that. I didn't get a new copy of that game until I was in mid to late high school, so like sophomore, junior year, I think at the latest. So that would have been like 2012 through 14. And because of that, Melee is just a game I'm not too outwardly attached to. I know the community loves it, and I know it's got one hell of a community in its own right, and I support the ever-living hell out of that. But there is a reason my favorite Smash game, outside of Ultimate, because Ultimate's just the best one, is probably Brawl. Because it was the one I've got more time out of. I think if I'm recalling correctly, back before the Nintendo station shut down, the one that allowed you to see, like, here's how long you played the games on your Wii for. I think I had, like, over 500 hours of Brawl. Most of that just replaying Subspace Emissary, which is probably the scary part to a lot of people. I didn't have many friends growing up, which is something that a lot of people can easily predict by the way I talk and interact, and that's fair. Based off the fact we don't have any music playing, though, you might be thinking we're close to the boss fight, and you are correct. There's only a few rooms left in Radish Ruins we haven't been to yet, and we'll take care of those towards the end of this part, early next. Really? A cherry? 1 HP restoration? Come on. I'm telling you, the chests in this game... What's not helping this game's situation is the fact that a lot of the pickups aren't worth getting. Like, you got ones like that have, like, the sprays or the music sheets and the big items that are, like, the maps and all that. But 3/4 of the chests in this game feel useless. Maybe not 3/4, maybe closer to half. I'm gonna opt to take Sword, though, instead of Smash for the boss fight, because it's time for Meta Knight. I'm sorry, time for... It's more or less the same fight from Nightmare in Dreamland. He'll jump and he'll slash and he'll jump slash and all that kind of stuff. And he'll randomly decide to just block your attacks and say no. There is a way to sort of bait him into a particular pattern type, where if you do little duck slashes where you kind of stab forward with the sword, he'll try to do a jump slash over you, which leads him into being easily hit. But as you can see, he dies pretty quickly anyway, as long as you're not super reckless. He's hard, but it's just because he can guard. And that is all 8 shards of the Amazing Mirror finally reunited. With that said, we're not going in there just yet, because the moment you enter there, you're technically thrown into the end game, because now it is technically the door to the final boss. Speedruns go in there right now in soft reset, so they can get that marked on completion and see the 100% marker, I believe, before going to the final boss. I'm opting to do it the way that feels more comfortable to me, which is go everywhere else first, and then there. Oh, hi, Bonkers. Bye, Bonkers. Thankfully, a lot of the Radish Ruins areas are also... Like, the place where you're going to have the most pathways here is also the place that leads into itself a lot. So you don't need to worry about a lot of backtracking to complete this area in particular. Oh, also, Meta Knight, we didn't get much of a chance to hear it because the boss was relatively quick as it was anyway. But Meta Knight's boss theme in this game is absolutely phenomenal. It just makes you wish it could go on longer. Oh, no, there is more than 8 health points. That's right. I forget if 9's the max or if it's 10. I want to say it's 10 because what cruel game ends your health points at an uneven number like 9? I mean, I guess it is a square number at the least, but what the hell? Who does that? That's like ending a game with only half a heart container and something. Which I guess if you don't go for the gambling one in one of the... I think it was one of the Super Adventure Island games you can do. Because all but one of the health extensions in one of those games I think is found in chests. That sounds about right. I haven't played those in a long-ass time, though. I played those mostly back in middle school through high school. Is like just what-if filler emulation games. Maybe one day I'll do LPs of them, because they're chill. That's kind of a dickishly hidden spray paint can, though, because you will actively just be like, hey, I want to go in the door. Wait, what do you mean that room's not done yet? Because I forget if I mentioned this or not. You can tell if you've gotten every chest in a room on the map by whether or not the room is flashing. If the room is just, like, stagnant yellow, there's still something in that room for you somewhere. So make sure you explore it to the best of your ability. If it's flashing, though, you've done everything. I believe next up, we're heading back to Carrick Castle once again, because there's like 1 or 2 rooms I still haven't explored in here. In fact, I think one of them is the room I've been talking about the entire game, the 8-way cannon room. To be frank, I'm not surprised, because going through that room is a little bit rough. Just like the speed run. Kirby runs, seeing my friends do them. Despite being very easy games to play casually, there's so many very precise tricks in these games that they're very daunting in my eyes. Like, a couple of the mixes in this LP, I had to do multiple takes at doing. In fact, most of them, barring the auto mixes, I had to do multiple takes of just to make sure I was like, alright, I got this. But in particular, the wheel mix at the start, I think I got so sick of trying to do it because it's such an early, precise input for hours that I think I ended up using frame advance in my emulator to practice it over and over again. And even then, I still got it wrong for quite a little bit longer on recording. Oh, hey, look, one of the few rooms I actively need to call my other Kirbys for because it's the only way you can get this chest reliably. Cool. Oh, hi, Shadow. That man's wasn't even on frame, on screen for like more than a couple frames. And this is definitely a room that shows you the power of Wheel, because Wheel is, as I mentioned, by and large invincible, barring a few occasions. Alright, here we are. We got 8 directions, all of which loop around to back, well, most of which loop back around to the main cannon here, some of which have chests that we need to grab, and figuring out which ways are the ways you need to go is hell. Thankfully, you don't need to go every direction. There we go. Now we're maxed on health. I think, in particular, you only need to go 2 ways to get 100% here, because I think that chest might have been the only one here, if not one of 2. So, as long as you get the right guesses done early on, you won't need to worry too much. And that's Carrick Castle completed. In fact, if memory serves, that's by and large most of the areas complete. I think there's only a handful of rooms left, and we're going to be taking care of those very early on next part, because next part's the end. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 8, the rest of the game. See you guys then.